Hi there. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Val's Air Guns. I am making a real quick video here. I have been doing a series on Gamo's VIPER EXPRESS now in 2020, and when I went to do crony testing after break-in period, I noticed some erratic numbers and some low velocities. So I wanted to go ahead and look the gun over. Additionally, I wanted to put some spring oil on the spring, make sure it was functioning smoothly, and add a little bit of chamber oil. We had put about 350-400 rounds through the gun to get it broken in. Initially, velocities were great. Had them checked by Pyramid Air before they shipped it. Checked them again when I received them here. When I went to do the testing the other day, they were low and erratic. So figured I had a problem inside the gun or needed to do some basic maintenance. Now, as far as maintenance, these are the products that I use or had around: RWS, spring cylinder oil, and then also their chamber oil. Now, of course, you only want to use chamber oil in a compression chamber because other oil will cause detonations that may damage the gun. Some other tools that were really useful. What I've decided to do is go ahead and put out a quick disassembly, reassembly video since I had to do it anyway. And some tips up front. You will need both screwdrivers and Torx bits. I have a Pachmayr gunsmith toolkit that I use a lot. Had all of the bits in that I needed for it. Also just used a little stubby screwdriver to get off my optics. But in addition to a set that has the Torx bits, you will also potentially need Allen keys if you're removing any kind of optics or things that use those as well, which I was. Those were the basic tools required. Couple of tips. There's 3 screws that hold the assembly in the stock. One of them's right here, and one is on each side beneath these rubber insets. So to disassemble the gun, you'll need to work ideally a plastic or something like that that won't mar the gun knife under there. And these basically assemble like auto body panels. They have a fatter portion inside that pushes through the hole, and you can just work each one of those out. There's 4 of them, and you work those out, you get access to 2 of the Torx bolts that are holding the front of the spring assembly and compression chamber in the gun. I'll go ahead and show you a time lapse on all of that. Just wanted to shoot this as a real quick intro because, like I said, had done this late last night and wanted to make it make a little more sense. I had a full memory card when I was taking it apart, but the time lapse for reassembly is complete. So if you have to do this kind of thing to your own gun, and this of course works for the Gamo VIPER rifle as well as the VIPER EXPRESS, and probably a lot of the other Gamo guns being very similar. All right, well, take a look, and we hope to see you on the next one. The first thing we're going to need to do with it is to go ahead, take off our optics. I had mounted a red dot on it so that we could do some accuracy testing in the pellet gun mode. Whenever I put a scope on a Magnum Springer, I always use a scope stop. This is one of Gamo's scope stops right there. So we'll go ahead and strip this stuff up and then take this action out of the stock and see if we have access to the main spring there if we have to take it apart further. And I will just do a time lapse for this part. All right, on the video we were shooting before, I was not sure how well this came across on the video. On the bottom of the compression chamber or receiver, I guess you will, of the gun, you'll see a channel. This is the steel spring that we compress when we cock it and drives the piston forward. Part of this series may include replacing that with a gas ram. I've read a lot about that online. A lot of folks have had some really good luck with that. Anyway, what I did today was to go ahead, get in here, and use some of the RWS spring oil on it. Also, they had grease that had kind of dripped all over, so kind of gathered it back up and packed it properly. Now we're going to go ahead and put her back together and see if we've made any improvements here. Okay, just wrapping up the finishing touches. Tell you what, some of those screws require a good bit of effort to get mounted again properly, but we are good to go. Alright, well, let's see if we work. Alright, we cock well. Sounded good. Sounds good. Gonna go ahead and put a couple of drops of the RWS air chamber lube into the gun. Again, do not use regular oil in the chamber. We'll just drop it down the transfer port. 2 or 3 drops, just a bit. Alrighty. Well, there we go. Let's see if we made a difference.